Mental Mondays ignite the spark. Hope guides each step, even in the dark. New week, new dreams to see. Hope's the key to what's meant to be.
Hey, welcome to Mental Health Mondays with Hope. Of course, I am Hope. And thank you for joining us. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So please share these videos that we have here on our YouTube channel on the PA Empowerment Network. And if you have not subscribed to the network yet, it's super simple. You just hit the subscribe button and it's absolutely free. So my guest this evening is someone I've known for quite some time, who's I consider my non-biological child. And we're going to talk about mental health and black men and mental health. So that's our doorbell. Hey, here he is. He opened that door and he came in. How's it going there?
Hey. Good. How are you?
Good. I'm good. So I like to start my shows with a positive affirmation from my guest that starts with an I am. So what can you tell me?
Well, I wrote one for today. Knowing that I was coming on to the show today. You can still see me. Everything's good. Bells, whistles, great.
Yep, we're good.
All right. So I wrote it down. I just want to make sure that I had it. I am allowed to take up space. I'm allowed to speak my truth. I am allowed to heal out loud. My voice, the one that has been silenced for so long, is not too much. It is exactly enough.
That's beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. I love it. And one of the reasons that I start with the positive affirmation is because not enough people say positive things about themselves, and the fact that you really put some thought into it, I like that, because then it kind of gets that ball rolling of thinking about ourselves in a powerful way. So I before we get started, I have to ask you a question.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
It's not meant to put you on the spot. Do you remember the first day we met?
Had to be I've seen you around, of course, around Pleasant Valley. So, but officially met had to be 2008, 2009. And I wanted to sign up for PVYA because I had been a former player in the Western Pocono JCs League with Steve Hicks. And you looked at me kind of weird, like, what does this young kid want to do?
Yes,
with these kids. But it had always been, I had just graduated college, and I knew I wanted to get into coaching. So I was like, you know what, let me just go through the pipeline. But I didn't know who was in charge of PVYA at the time, and it happened to be you. And
right.
Our first interaction, I thought it was funny, but 25 years old. I mean, why would I want to be? But I went through what these kids went through. So
yeah,
because of my pops, Al being my coach, and Mr. Jim being my other coach, that just inspired me to be like them. So
right. So I have to tell you that moment is emblazoned in my memory forever. It truly is, for a few reasons. Some that what you just said, here is this, 25-year-old young man comes to basketball signups, where the parents are bringing their children, and, the mom or dad says, oh, I want to coach. Great. And, here comes this young man. And I said, oh, are you registering a boy or a girl? And he's like, no, I don't have any kids. Oh, is it a niece or a nephew? And he's like, no. And then, me being in the field that I am in, all of my red flags started, raising and rising. And then, I got to ask you, well, what brought you here? And then you shared that story with me. And I thought it was the best thing since sliced bread. And you were amazing and truly made a difference in a lot of young men's lives.
I will never forget a parent coming up to me and telling me that I made a difference in their child's life. And I was like, okay, I know I did something right here. And even though I don't talk to most of my kids now who are, jeez, if I'm sitting there and I'm coach these kids when they were 10, 11, 12, and now a lot of this 15 years later, these kids are almost 30. I feel
Right.
old. I feel old. One of them just got married last week. I'm like, I couldn't be more proud of these young men. I couldn't, because they're still younger than me. So what? It's a blessing to come full circle. So I can't complain.
Yeah. You did a great thing with these kids, with these young people who are now young people. And you're right. I mean, we are getting older. But the thing is, the ones that are still in touch with you, it does remain a blessing to have them, like message you or call you up and say, "Hey, coach, guess what I just did?"
The thing is still having them call you coach. It was like, I will always been embedded as coach to them.
Right.
So
that is an honor. That is a huge honor that has been bestowed upon us, that these people still, refer to us as coach. One of my assistant coaches, who it was a former NFL football player, still calls me coach. And it's a sign of respect that, I think we're kind of lacking in some things today, but, it's definitely a sign of respect. And I feel that when people say ball is life, I think that you and I exemplify that. And there are a lot of others, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But, we exemplify that because we took the sport and, what we got from the sport and wanted to share not just the skills and drills and, game plays, but everything else that came along with the sport, how, to gain confidence and how to work as a unit and, how to rely on somebody.
Yeah, because you have to. It's your one unit. You can't be one. We're not all going to be NBA players. We're not going to be a LeBron James or Michael Jordan or anybody that comes through those doors. Because I think I was watching some podcast with Michael Beasley, who was a former player. He was talking about only 500, only 60 of those players get drafted every year, and 20 to 40 of them get cut. So it's not as easy as a lot of people think, and you spend so much time in AAU and times away from your families, and you run these kids through the mill of weekend after weekend, and then this is the whole entire thing when we talk about mental health. They may just be constantly going, but we don't take the time to stop and say, "Hey, you okay? What's going on?" Some coaches run these kids into the ground. They don't stop to reflect like, hey, I may be causing a little bit of damage that may take place years down the line.
Right. And I don't know if you remember at coaches meetings, and, it's funny because the people that you're describing, they're the ones that when I would make the statement I'm about to make, they would be the ones that would roll their eyes, because at coaches meetings, I would remind the coaches that we're doing more than teaching basketball.
Well, yeah, it reflects, and I think a lot of people, even people my teams, my boys, we only had a short successful season. We didn't win much, but when I would see them succeed, I'd get I would get emotional for them, because you know what? They finally came together as a unit and they did something positive for themselves. And to see the kids win, it made me I'm like, yeah, I'm doing something right. Like, hey, there's been many seasons where I won one game, but I'm not there to win the game. And I'm thinking about the experiences, and them coaches, even though I may have won one game, I got the same kids every single year because they wanted to come back.
Exactly. I can't agree more. I think basketball is, both of us, is just a huge part of our lives. And kind of speaking of basketball, if Kendall has that ready, we lost a good friend last month. Our good friend Chris Curry passed away. Mm-hmm. And he's friends with they're trying to get that picture on the screen. What's that?
It's behind you. You're good.
All right. Well, that's all right. We'll figure it out. So, Chris was a musician, a singer, a producer, and a heck of a baller. And I apologize, I don't recall his age. Do you remember, Kendall? 82 years old.
And think about that man, and I've known Chris Curry for 20 plus years.
Right.
That man was, if you're talking about he's 82, which means that man was out there playing when he was 60 years old.
Yep.
60 years old.
And I'm telling you, he could still like sink the threes, better than some of the young guys because he didn't run anymore. So he just shot the three.
And it frustrated the crap out of people because you're sitting there trying to figure out that man. I always call he always shot like Bill Cartwright. So I'm sitting like, and if anybody don't know who Bill Cartwright is, he used to play for the Bulls and then he played for the Knicks back in the late 80s and 90s. And he'd make it, and people will be frustrated because you can't read somebody. If you're not tall enough, you're not going to catch somebody's apex, and his apex is all the way at the top of his shot. So when he shot it, you couldn't block it. So within, you're going to have to deal with it.
Right. And I just have to, share something funny so I guess Chris's services are going to be in Brooklyn on the 15th. So, I talked with your pops, and he said that, they're sending flowers, and the basketball group was called the Fellas, who had a few ladies that played every now and again. And he said that the Fellas were gonna, send flowers. And what are we doing? Here we go. There we go. Did it come up on the screen?
Yeah, it's there.
Yeah. Oh, now we lost it all. Oh, my screen is blank.
I got it on mine.
All right, cool. Okay, as long as you can see me. But so the Fellas, they would play ball down at the park on Sundays. And were you there? I don't remember if you were in the area anymore when they would go play bocce.
I was there when they first started playing bocce, and then that's when I moved to New Jersey.
Oh, Kendall's talking.
My brother Richie.
Yes, sir.
Can you hear him?
I can hear him faintly, but
you can't. What's that? You can hear him, but you can't see. Yeah, he's not on camera.
I can hear him faintly.
Right. Do you remember the brother that was out there taking pictures of the bocce ball?
Who was taking? I cannot remember who was taking pictures.
I tell you what, I'll send you a whole bunch of them.
That was Kendall.
That was Kendall. All right.
Yeah, that was Kendall.
At the Chestnut Hill Park.
Yep. Anybody get
Chestnut
my
Hill Park,
screen back? Wait, maybe it's just there. It is. Brought it back. Okay. Well, sort of. So yeah. So I have to say something about bocce. Now, like when the guys play street ball, there's a lot of heckling going on, right? A lot of that going back and forth. And that same thing occurred when they would go play bocce. I would come down to the park on Sundays just to watch them because they would just make me laugh, and it was just such a social activity of watching them play, like heckle each other and go at each other from the basketball court where I expect it, then to the bocce court where I had never seen heckling of players in bocce before.
Hey, look, we're always going to heckle each other. You're going to try to get somebody off their game. Somebody's always want to cheat.
They called it ghetto bocce ball. Ghetto bocce ball. So yeah, that was good times. Good times. I'm sorry, I've kind of gotten off topic here, but in a sense, not really, because basketball and social interactions like this are kind of things that that keep us healthy and happy. Mm-hmm. But I have to say something else, which you already know, that my show name, Mental Health Mondays, mm-hmm. I got from you.
And I appreciated that because I was like, okay, Mom, I see you.
I got that from you.
I appreciate
it. Because you started something on your Facebook a couple years back. Mm-hmm. It was Mental Health Monday.
Correct.
And you would check in on everybody.
I never thought that, I didn't think I was the originator of it. I thought I was. But then now I pop up and I look up stuff and I say, Mental Health Monday. It's like, dang it, had I thought patent this 5 years ago, maybe I would have had this money. But no, it was during the
Mine's plural though.
Yeah, it was during the pandemic, and it just started, and I'm like, I had just started my clothing line, and I was sitting there like, boy, like this is about to really get crazy for a lot of people who are going to be indoors, and I think stress is going to be at an all-time high, especially for those who are critical people, like who were working around like hospital workers, and I was one of them. I was still working at my company. I've been there for 9 years, and we were critical. I can't remember the daggone word they were calling us. Essential workers. There you go.
Yeah.
And I was essential worker, and I'm like, geez, he's like, I'm talking about. And I just had my daughter like 3 months before COVID hit. Now she's 6, and I'm sitting there like, and you remember I had to come home and strip down and get in the shower and disinfect everything, and then spend time with her, and then spend time with my wife, and then over and over and over and over again. I was like, you know what? Let me sit down and talk about a mental health Monday check before we get into the week. And it took off for a while, and then I disappeared because you know what? Life happens. And then I started a Facebook group a month ago, and I'm trying to build it as a community called Mental Health Mondays. And I put the show link in the group today, so hopefully if anybody's
thank you,
they can watch the show later. But yeah, I was like, you know what? And then I've been off for the last 2 weeks because I was sick last week, and then life. And I said I'll get back into it tomorrow. I'll get back in tomorrow until tonight when I go back into work and continue to make the plans out. So I didn't forget about everybody. I'm just lives. So, and I think
sure.
I think that's the thing. That's the thing with mental health. You gotta remember that.
Exactly. That's where I was exactly gonna go. And the time I feel that you and I are very social, personable people. Mm-hmm. And I think the time that we need to check in on social, personable people is when they disappear.
Yeah. I remember when you told me, I was like, no, life is life right now. And it's just life is life. And I'm like, just trying to get back to the center. And it's like, as much as we can check on people, you got to check on yourself. And I think that's the first thing in the group I said. I was like, make sure you check in with yourself. Make sure you know what's going on with yourself. Don't hold it off. Because with the context of what we're talking about today, especially within Black men, we tend to push everything down, push it down. I'm all right. I'll be okay. X, Y, Z. And then we wind up turning into Mount Vesuvius and destroy everything in our path. And then it's, recovering for it. So,
right.
And I'm learning that as I go. I'm learning that as you have to be, and not be afraid to speak your mind, not be afraid to be like, hey, you got to tell people no sometimes. It's okay to tell people no, I'm not okay. It's okay to tell people, no, I'm not going to do this. It's okay. Remember that. It is okay.
Right. Do you feel that like from the older generation, of, like your dad's generation and things like that, like they'll like tell you, suck it up, buttercup, or are they more open to hearing, what, this, I'm standing up for myself?
I think Pops. He doesn't lean too much into the suck it up part. He'll lean into the make sure that you're okay, because you only have you, and you are the only person that you'll have at the end of the day. As sad it is, as sad as that sounds, family's gonna go away. They're gonna pass away. They're gonna move away. You can't rely that relationships dissolve. The only thing you got is yourself and your kids. That's all you got.
Right. And because of the person that your dad is, your pops is, that's how we all became family, because, going through my divorce, and he coached Connor in basketball, and, became Connor's black dad. There are and as this is not meant to offend people, but this is our, this is what we do. Your pops when his daughter from Baltimore came to visit, we were at the gym. I don't remember if you were up that weekend or not. And we were at the gym, and she, came in like to the door or whatever. And he's like, hey, come here. I want you to meet my white wife. And your mom's just like, yeah, whatever. Do you want him? I'm like, no, he's yours. Joking. But I love your parents. I love you. I love your sister, the whole family, the whole crew, good people. And, of course, everybody's going to have their ups and downs in family life, but, they seem like they've always, been very supportive.
And we will continue to be, as we always are.
Yeah. So what do you feel? I mean, it could be different. It's interesting because, you're black, so you can't necessarily say, oh, well, I feel like a white man's depression or mental health, but I mean, just from having friends and family.
I feel like mine, as I tell everybody, and as everybody should know, black people are not a monolith. Nobody is a monolith. There's no,
right.
I would say I'm the most sensitive person out of my family. I feel my emotion, but you know what? I'm coming to grips with it. That's okay. It's okay to feel that way, because at the end of the day, so what? If you're emotional, so what? Who cares if you're emotional? You got to get it out, because people who don't get it out, they destroy things. They become their own worst enemy, and they're wondering like, well, why isn't this person like? Because I can't find somebody who is willing to listen to me enough for me to sit there and say, hey, I don't need you to respond. I just need you to listen. And I think a lot of people want to respond. And I think that's a lot of things with black men. We always want to respond instead of listening when it comes to mental health. And I think we're leaning into I think I'm glad to see a lot of people are more leaning into mental health conversations. It brings a smile to my face, because we only have one of these. And think about in our world, not even basketball per se, because I haven't seen a case of CTE, but football. And these people who are in their heads with concussions. And you may have a soccer player, like one of my friends who's a soccer player, he had dealt with a concussion for on and off for like 3 years. But it changes the chemicals in your brain when you have a concussion, and then you're on and people think you're crazy. You're not crazy. You're going through something right now, and they don't know how to stop that avalanche from that snowball from going downhill. And we'll sit there and say, well, why didn't this person get help? Well, he probably tried to call out for you for help, and you weren't paying attention to that. Right. And then that makes people go back and reflect, like, damn, maybe I should have listened for a second, and maybe I should have never ignored it. And then they start reflecting on their life, like, damn, am I going through something that I haven't checked in with myself enough to realize that, oh, maybe something else is going on, and then it trickles down to everything else.
I think, with the concussions, that's a traumatic brain injury. And anytime your brain is injured, it does alter the chemicals in your brain. And certainly, and multiple concussions is definitely not a good thing. And Connor had a concussion in high school and felt the effects for quite some time. And some of the things, I mean, he already had the diagnosis of ADHD, but, sometimes he feels that, having that concussion may have exacerbated some of these reactions to having, that diagnosis. And I think, definitely they have done more research into it lately, but I feel that it continues to need to be researched.
I think mental health, I think companies, especially, how I'm not even going to get into top politics. And that's another conversation that for us to have, because I think they're trying to push it under the rug. I don't.
Oh, sure. But you know what? I mean, you can't talk about these things without bringing politics into it. It's because it's a finger pointing. Let's talk about with gun violence and mental health. it's not, and I have no issues with guns and, and all that. I have my carry permit and what have you, but it's the gun culture. It's the gun culture, and they want to blame it on, it's mental health. But okay, if it is mental health, let's go around the rosy here. What are the questions? Like, how do we decide whether someone's mental health is well enough to have a gun permit? And then wait a minute, how much of that is then going to be judgmental? Because someone has a diagnosis, it doesn't mean that they're going to have some sort of a stereotypical outburst. So it is a huge circle, and it definitely does become political, because like you said, they want to push it under the rug, or they want to blame mental health when it is, when it's good for them. But then let's not put the resources into it that are needed.
That, or strip the money away from those resources and then put it to something else that has absolutely nothing to do with anything.
No, you're right. You're right.
Because we have a system called the 5 Whys system, which is basically breaking down the root cause of a problem that you had at your job. This happened. Why? Why did this happen? Why did that happen? So you get to the root cause of your problem. So if you're figuring that this person XYZ, something happened, mass shooter. Why did it happen? Well, this person was doing this, that, and the third. Why did this, that, and the third happen? And you break it down until you don't have to get the 5 whys. You can constantly keep going down to the root of the problem. And I think that's what a lot of people have to start doing, realizing that when there's a problem, there is a problem. And I can't say nip it in the bud, because it may always circle back around, because everything always comes back around. So once I think people get to realize that mental health is important, that it becomes a cultural thing, that, hey, we need times off. We need times to reset. But that's also, I think, American culture. Other countries outside of here, they will, you see like Denmark or Sweden or Norway or China, or they have mental health days as a societal thing, because it's important. These other countries don't have mass shooting issues that we have. Right. They don't, and it's factual, and we'll sit there and we'll ignore it. Mm-hmm. And I don't like it.
I mean, the term "going postal" was coined in the United States. And so there's something that you said, earlier, like people ask, well, why didn't they ask for help? And I think that's one thing that is really important to talk about or have people understand, is that a lot of times when someone is feeling off, really going into a dark place, they don't reach out for help.
They are afraid they're afraid of this.
Sure. But I mean, even with friends, because they're in a dark place.
Yeah.
So when you're in a dark place, you're not thinking, I'm going to, reach out to my friend for help. That's why, I love, what you started during COVID with your Mental Health Monday check-in. I love it, because even if they didn't check in, they knew that you were there. Yeah. And I think that because I followed that, and obviously I followed that, I modeled it. and there were people that would, maybe not put the whole thing out there, but say, I'm feeling a little off today. And you would come back with, you're loved. You need anything, reach out. And
it's a community. Anybody, I may not have the expertise. I really don't. I just hear somebody who wants to listen and learn as just as much as you do. But there are people that, like you, who can send somebody to somewhere else that they may get, oh snap, I didn't know this. That's what community is about. And I think that's what a lot of people do lack today, is the sense of community.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Stipulation. What is it in for me? It's not about being what's in for you. Hey, we're here. That's all I want. And that's all I wanted for Mental Health Mondays to me, was We're here. I'm here. You need to talk? Let's talk. And
Right.
I'm gonna listen. I may not have the answers. I may know somebody who does.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And I think that's what's key right there, is because it is a community. We have that ability. And certainly if somebody reached out to you, in private, then you could be like, all right, let me think, like, who do I know that might, know where to go to. And I know we have a couple different banners that roll across the bottom of the screen, but 988 is our that's our national crisis hotline, mental health and suicide. Well, there's a separate suicide line as well, but 988 can be for all of that.
Mhm.
And now we also have your website going across the top. I don't know if you see it.
I
You had
see it.
mentioned your clothing line.
Yep. We have a
So
section, our mental health Monday section. I still have to update the other shirts. And we have shirts that for mental health awareness.
yep, I
Each
did see them.
each cell does go, a portion of it does go to a mental health cause for the year. I usually pick it in the middle of the year, around June, July, and then whatever proceeds we get, a portion of those cells goes to that organization.
That's
It's been a long
awesome.
time since I've had a cell for mental health money, but nobody knows about it. I had to rebrand it a little bit.
Right.
I think this year I'm going to give it to one of my friends who I worked with in New Jersey before they shut down our New Jersey plant. He just did something that's called breaking the cycle. But his breaking the cycle it's with biking, which is something that you do. So I will send you their information. And what they just
Yeah.
did with him and his partner, they rode their bikes from New Jersey to Washington, D.C.
Nice.
So,
Now, when you say bikes, you mean motorized or non-motorized?
non-motorized. They were cycling.
Nice.
Taking the cycling.
Okay.
So,
Just
and I think
checking,
they-
because I do both.
Sorry for the background noise. I'm outside. So
That's all right. No, that's all right.
they were cycling. They cycled, not motorists. They cycled from.
Okay, gotcha.
They cycled, I think, from Newark, New Jersey to Washington, D.C. And I think it took them 2.5 days just to bring awareness to mental health.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You definitely have to send me, information on that. I would love to, help promote that. That's just tremendous. So how, you have a 6-year-old daughter now.
Oh, my baby. She's great. She's all of energy, life of the party. She makes me the happiest I've ever been in my life. There's nothing I wouldn't do for her. I won't do for it. Like, you're gonna have.
Oh,
to
I
commit-
know she's had you wrapped around her little finger, but not in a bad way. I mean,
and you're gonna have to commit me when she gets older. So it's exactly what it is. No, but she brings, I would say, calm, but I know that mentally I have to be there for her. We haven't had anything done with her yet, but we do have to kind of get, not diagnosed, but see how she is, because she's very intelligent. But she, when she was born, she does a lot of toe walking. So that's a lot of things that are, we want to get situated.
right.
But she's kind of through there. She has full conversations. Nothing's wrong with her mentally, but we just want to make sure that she's taken care of. Because
Oh yeah, absolutely.
the way that, once again, political things, and I don't know why Brainworm, if you know who Brainworm is trying to take away from that aspect and try to register. It's a very slippery slope, and I don't like it. I don't like if any person who has to deal with that. But that's nothing I won't do for my daughter. Nothing.
Right.
I will protect her to the ends of the earth, every galaxy in this world.
And you said that you've kind of learned to appreciate or use, I guess, your emotional side, or let your emotional side out. But part of that, like with your emotional side, if we want to call it that, is one of the reasons why you wanted to come back and coach basketball.
Right.
And it's one of the reasons why you made such an impact in their lives. And it's one of the reasons why, and certainly not taking anything away from Lori, one of the reasons why your daughter, and I'm not going to use her name. I'm not coming. She's a child. I know her name, but I'm not going to use it. But I've seen some of the things that your daughter says and thinks, and she is amazing. And she already has such a grasp on almost like on society, on things that go on around her.
I give that all to my wife. So my wife, Lori, is such a great mom. She's such a great mom. She had my daughter reading at probably, I mean, I'm gonna have to toot her home for that. She was reading probably at a first grade level at like 2.5. She can sight read. She can sight read. So, and she'll read it, she'll understand it, she'll say what the word is, and you'll sit there in shock, and we'll just look at her like, well, how do we know this? But it's because of what Lori poured into her and taught her things. And I will come on the back end. I'm not as good as it, but my wife is. So I go throw the alley-oop all the time, like, do what you do. And she's got it. We're gonna see if she's gonna be in the gifted class next year, because she's more advanced in reading. She has a couple other things to work on, but she is there. And this only leads down the road to more things that are going to help me and my wife out more financially, because it's going to be rough. So whatever help we can get, I'm proud of my daughter. I'm proud of my wife.
Yeah.
I love my wife. I love my daughter. They are my family. And hey, look, I can't complain. I can complain about a lot of things wrong, but I can't complain about them.
Absolutely. So I mean, everybody that's watching should definitely check out your website, with your clothing line, but I'll send out
yes.
What's that?
I'll send out the link for just that merch. But if they want to go on the other side,
okay. Well, we have the website.
The regular one.
Yeah. But you're also a musician.
Yes, I am. I'm dipping my toe back into that, and I will credit my wife for that as well. Because I sang first before I MC, but now I'm leaning back into songwriting. So that has been the newest challenge, and she gave me a challenge, and I've taken it full on. And that challenge was like in February, and I've written like 8 new songs. So that project will probably hopefully be edited out by the end of the summer, and we're gonna have fun with it. So it's a lot. It's also stepping out into my comfort zone a little bit. It's not doing the same thing I've usually done, so we are gonna have fun with it.
And how do we find your music?
All digital streaming platforms: YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify. Just type in the one word. It's Rich Fraz, so it's RICH FRAZ, one word. I should pop right up on your screen. So
okay. All right. So we can support a musician, support a family. I mean, a business that helps support your family. Everything that you do it's all with good intention. Like it's all like positive.
I like being a good. I think me and you had the conversation a couple months ago. Is it to be a good person, or you want to be a nice person? You want to be a good person? I just want to be a good person, and I've always been a good person, and I tend to think that good people get shafted a lot, and it's hard on me because I don't like seeing it, and I think that's what I get the most emotional about. Good people getting the proverbial hose. So
right. And a lot of times, when we're being good people, we're also being very nice, and and that does get taken advantage of or seen as a weakness.
But don't think that we don't see it.
I know, exactly. And, and that's, but it's hard though. It does become emotional, it does become emotional because you're like, really? They did that to me. Oh, wow. Because everything we do is from the heart.
Mhm.
So that's where it hits the hardest.
And he's like, all right, I got you.
Yeah. So, I have Kendall here, and we talk, a lot of times, we talk about mental health and Black men, but Kendall's a little older than you.
A little older.
So, I should have put a young Black man's mental health perspective. I'm getting the evil eye over there.
I'm not young anymore. I'm officially middle-aged, so.
Oh, stop! You're not.
Look, I'll be 42 this year. That's how I had to remember. Like, that's middle age. Men do not.
Oh, you know what? Kendall just said he has shoes older than you.
And look, men, we don't last long. We are out. What is our age? Like 76?
That I don't know.
I got this. I don't know if it dropped. Maybe it used to be like 80 something, but it's dropped. So if you talk about,
do you know what the life expectancy of Black male is, Kendall?
I don't want to say Black male. I'm talking about men in general. Black male.
Oh, men in general.
Men in general. If you talk about Black male, I don't know because you'll get statistics. You'll get money into the water and get the statistics, and then depends on. It'll depend on environment, and then they'll start. It may be. Remember, they used to say life expectancy of an urban Black man would be they won't make it past their 21st birthday. I've already doubled that.
Right.
So I've made it past my life expectancy, quote unquote. But if you're talking about men in totality, it's like 76 years old. I got 34 more years. So I'm above that.
Talking point.
You need to change your mindset because if you're thinking 76, then they call that a self-fulfilling prophecy, and we don't want to see that.
I'm gonna be here till 99 years old, and then I'm
Chris
gonna
Curry, 82 years old. 82 years old, still balling.
The way that we're going, we're gonna be able to live until like 125 with just our brain and just compute everything. We just won't be here physically. We'll be here mentally, but his brain died. Which is like, oh no, his body may have died years ago, but his brain is still here. He's still talking every single day. I think I'll be here for a long time. I'm trying to be here for a long time. I don't want to get snuffed out.
Yeah.
Death is weird, and I've seen. Even in pop culture, you just see it then like, hey, this person died. Dang, they died so young. Dang, I didn't realize they was this young. Dang, I didn't realize this person was that old. I thought they were dead. It goes to all that thing. No, maybe I gotta just live this thing. I only got one of them.
Yeah. Sorry, I just made me. We're talking serious, and it made me think of something funny. With Connor, and for those that you are not aware, Connor is my son, my biological son. I say, hey, Connor, do you remember so-and-so? And I had gotten to the point where the only time I was saying that to him was when I found out they had passed away. So now, like, anytime I'm like, hey, do you remember? Because, maybe I saw him at the grocery store or something, or they asked about him because they remember him as a small child. And I'm like, hey, do you remember? And his automatic response is, oh, did they die? And I'm like, no, actually, they asked about you. But unfortunately, he just lost one of his classmates recently. So I tried to reword it so that it didn't trigger him, of the.
I don't know if you're on the Facebook group about like the Monroe County deaths and anything like that. And I'm like, and then they'll go through like the school districts, and it's weird. And you're like, I didn't know this person passed away.
Yeah.
And then it's just weird because when I start looking at like the class, like I'm 2002, I'm still looking at the classes that were 2 years after me, or 2 years before me. But then I go up all the way to my sister's class because I knew most of those kids during then, and it's like, wow.
Yeah.
Especially the ones even when those who you graduate with, because I don't. Did you lose your friend when you were in high school? So, and then I lost a couple friends when I was in high school, and it's like they never made it to where I'm at.
No,
they never did. You literally, they're stuck in a moment in time.
Right. Connor actually had a classmate who passed away when they were still in elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's a Pleasant Valley classmates who passed away page.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm talking about, yeah.
And when they just put it up for this other, of his classmates that passed away, there are 3 from his class. He was 2016, 3 who passed away. And they showed the elementary school picture of the little girl, and it just brought back, like it just rushed back, because they were in class together when she passed away, and she passed away from an illness. And Connor ended up coming home from school sick. And, and it was a little bit of a scary time, but not just that part of it, the fact that she was his friend and he wanted to go to her funeral at such a young age, he wanted to do that.
Yeah.
And, when I saw that picture, it was like just kind of freezing, bringing back that moment in time. It was crazy.
Yeah, I think that's put a lot of things into perspective for a lot of people. Like these people who passed away, they don't get a chance to go through what we go through. So I think it's very important that we, even as a society, to realize that somebody didn't get a chance to make it where you made it. So please take care of this, because you only have one of this, and get through your things, because they didn't have a chance. Right.
And even on our worst day,
we're still here.
We're still here. And I think that's, I say that to people. You've already made it through your worst day. I think your worst day, you made it through.
I've never understood what it said. Hey, it can always be worse. And it's true. It can always be worse.
It absolutely can. And when you're there, when you're thinking, oh, this is worse, it's still keeping, even if it's out way, way, way in the distance, still keeping your eye on that light at the end of the tunnel. Because I promise you, it's there.
It's always there.
The light is always there.
And you'll get there and you'll just look around and you'll sit there and say, I made it. But you made it. I will sit there and say, but you'll never be out of the woods, because you're always something that can always trigger something. Just make sure you live your day more positively and just continue living.
Exactly. And I think that's one of the reasons why I do the positive affirmation, the I am affirmations, because we don't do that enough. And that in itself, it can be such a positive for our mental health. And I had it, I have to rewrite it. I had it on my mirror. I wrote it in lipstick. I am. So that way, every morning when I'm brushing my teeth or I'm, looking in the mirror, I am. And I was forced, to say something positive. And I say forced because some days it did feel like I was forcing myself to say something positive. And I feel that everyone should do that, whether you write it on your mirror in lipstick, whether you put it on the refrigerator door, someplace you're going to see it, put it on your car dashboard. I mean, you don't need, to have this big, positive self-talk. I mean, positive self-talk is the only self-talk we should be using, but just an I am affirmation. And you'd be amazed at the people who, when I ask them now, before a show, I prepare people. Hey, I'm going to ask you to, say a positive affirmation. But if I'm doing icebreakers or if I'm doing a program and I have people, I catch them off guard and, they have to say an I am, positive affirmation. It's amazing how difficult that is for people. But if I say, hey, what do you feel is your least, favorite attribute about yourself? Boy, they can spout that off. They can spout that off. And, that's not good.
I think a lot of people are not, A lot of people doubt themselves. Self-doubt is one of the biggest killers you ever had. And I had a running joke with my wife. She's like, you talk to yourself entirely too much. I'm like, yeah, I do. It's normal. Talk to yourself. He's like, you'll talk to yourself till you run yourself in the ground. It's what I'm supposed to do. It's how I figure out things. It's how I'm going to figure it out. I may not say it to you right away, but I'm going to talk to myself until I realize it, because you can have conversations with you. And I think, it's crazy. Like, no, I've had 4 hour-long conversations with myself, back and forth, volley. How's this? Because you know the answers that you want to know. You got to talk yourself into the answers.
Right. And if you can talk to yourself inside your head, but it's different when it actually comes out of your mouth.
Yeah.
And, you put it in the universe. And, I feel that it's very different when you can literally hear it. Oh, I talk to myself. But, sometimes I disguise it as talking to my pets. It's just,
if I want to talk to myself, you're going to know I'm talking about something. Like, are you talking to yourself? Like, yep. About what?
Absolutely.
What?
And I'm answering myself.
Making sure, because I have to get it out. If I don't get it out, it's going to stay there.
I get it. I totally get it. So, tell me, I know that I love that you've done the Facebook group again. What's something that you would like to, kind of, what do you want people to get out of that? I know, it's maybe sounds some really kind of obvious, but what's the why? I know you started it during, COVID initially, but now you've gone back to it. Like, what is your why? Your very specific why?
My why is because I just want to help. That's my why. I just want to help. I don't get anything out of it. It doesn't make me feel good. It makes me feel good, but it's not I gotta brag about it. I don't know what people are going through. I know what I go through on my own personal time. I know what I go through on days that I don't have it. I don't know who may need it. You never know when somebody may need it at that point in time. And
absolutely.
Then you'll see a couple friends that they're going through something right now, and it's like, all right, this is the purpose of why I did this. It's because people need it. People need to know that they're not alone in this world, or how they think, or how they feel, or how they need to process. They need to know that they're not alone. You can talk to somebody. I'm going to listen to you. I may not have the answers. Somebody else may have the answers, but I will always sit there and say, hey, look, I hear you. I'm here to understand. Right. I don't want to say anything wrong. And if I say something wrong, please correct me. If you can correct me, and then I will sit there and say, all right, here's what I have for you. I'm willing to listen to you. You can come back to me. I'm here to listen anytime you need me to listen. And that is exactly why I started the Mental Health Mondays group. It's because I want other people who may feel that they're stuck in that box, that they can come and they can talk to somebody. Because a lot of people don't have money for therapy. A lot of people are scared to go to therapy. A lot of people may say, I don't need therapy, but they still may need to say, I'm feeling XYZ. Can somebody please reassure me here? Or show me something I haven't seen. That's my why. Right.
Awesome. No, that's awesome. I love it. You know what? And I am a huge proponent of therapy, and here's my reasoning is that, think about yourself and your circle, and, this is your core. And, if you're like your family, you're all around each other all the time. So there's, the possibility of not having an outside of the box moment or thought. And that's the one thing that therapy does, even if it's something that, you don't like do for long term. Like you said, some people say, don't realize that they need help, or say they don't need help. But
I will say a lot of people know they need help. A lot of people do know they need help, and they just won't do it.
Right. And the stigma has a lot to do with that. And if we could just destigmatize that would be tremendous. And you know, and like you said, you know, financially people can't afford that. I spoke with the head of one of the major you know, hospital networks in this area, who about, you know, mental health and medical health, about the parity between the two, the parity, Parity. And what this individual said to me was that the reimbursement for, you know, for mental health is not the same as it is for medical health, and the cost of providing mental health in, you know, in some situations can be more expensive than medical. And I'm not talking surgeries and things like that. You know, I'm talking it was a conversation about having a behavioral health unit in our county, which we don't have. And it came down to money. It didn't come down to need. Clearly there's a need there. It comes down to money, and it comes down to the insurance companies and the reimbursement, that they get reimbursed less for mental health services than they do for medical services. And the need is greater for mental health services. So, you know, and so people might not have the money to go to see a mental health provider because of their copay, or their insurance doesn't cover it. And that's not right. So having a place that they can reach out to, like your Mental Health Monday and my Mental Health Mondays, and, you know, both of us being the people that say, you know what, I'm here to listen. And that's really your role. I mean, for me as well, it's to listen, because even as a social worker, we don't tell people what to do. You know, we help people find their own solutions and find their own answers. And sometimes that does require finding resources for them. And which again is something that, you know, you do as well. If I don't know the answer, I'm going to go find somebody that does. And I think that's how you build a really good mental health community.
Correct.
So anything that you would like to close with as we start to wrap it up this evening? Please give my love to your girl crew there.
I will. Because women run the world. And as soon as men figure out that women run this daggone world, I think we'd be in a better daggone place. But I'll say that for
Hey, let me tell you, your lips to God's ears or politics ears.
I'll be glad.
I'm not going to disagree with that.
God, if I told you so was a. I'm about to make that T-shirt. I told you so.
That's a perfect T-shirt.
They told you so.
There's one that I want to make for my granddaughter that says "Words are hard," because she'll try to explain something and she's like, "Oh, I can't find the right words. Words are hard." So I'm gonna make that.
My closing would be: never stop trying. Please don't stop trying. If you're going through something, please keep trying. If you don't know who to talk to, find somebody. Talk to yourself. But please talk yourself out of it, or lead yourself down a road where you can have a positive outcome, because you're not alone. And I think a lot of people still feel that they are alone. And because stigmas, they may feel that they can't talk to somebody, or their friend they may know don't sit there and say, I ain't got time to this. Oh, you need it. And then that's the worst thing. You don't need those. I mean, I can't say you don't need those type of friends, but then like I say, you don't need those type of friends. You need somebody that's going to listen to you. Never stop trying. Please always give it 110%. You may not have it every single day, but lean into always trying.
Right. Every day is a new gift.
Yep. Use it.
You know, I'm getting a little older, and I don't say this yet, but I know some people do say that every day I wake up on this side of the dirt is a good day.
Correct.
And it's true.
Everybody said the job was like, how you feeling? I'm alive.
Right. Well, think of it. We lay down in a bed, right? Mm-hmm. We sleep in a bed. Some people sleep on the floor because they have a bad back, whatever. We lay on the bed. So what do we do first thing in the morning is we sit up. Mm-hmm. So we're already in a higher place than we were just 30 seconds ago when we were sleeping. So everything is moving up, looking up every single day, every single minute of every single day.
Correct.
Listen, you keep doing you, boo-boo, as my daughter would say. I love you. I love the family. We're going to get people to check out your line here
Hey,
of
look,
value.
Hey, send them. I appreciate it. It's going to the stuff that from Mental Health Monday is all going to a great cause.
Yeah.
And I just want, like I said, I just want this world to be a better place. I know it get corny or cliche, but I looked up to Michael Jackson for a reason when I was a little kid. He just wanted better for the world, and they took him out for it.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about that. So, yeah. But Godspeed, Mom.
All right, my son. I love you. Thank you so much. And we'll have you back sometime, and we'll go forward from here.
All right. Love you.
All right, son. Have a good night. Love you.
Later.
All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us on Mental